Coach, what's the adjustment that needs to be made across the offensive line, and what happens if Ethan Posick can't go on Sunday?
Well, when you're talking about adjustments, I think, are you talking about last game and
Yeah, and it looked like Arizona gave teams the blueprint on how to blitz and what to bring, and it looked like Buffalo maybe followed suit with some of that. So is that an adjustment thing? Is that a scheme thing? What needs to happen there?
Yeah, well, I think both teams that we went against are obviously they're heavy pressure teams by numbers. The numbers are a Vance Joseph defense is going to blitz a lot. A Sean McDermott defense is going to blitz a lot. And we have to handle the blitzes better. There's no doubt about that. It starts with me and the staff putting together a great protection plan, adjustments. Then it goes to our players, seeing the blitz as it's presenting itself and beginning to unfold and making the correct calls. And just making the call doesn't get it blocked. You all actually have to communicate and get everybody working together, and sometimes there's eye violations. But we need to be better. We weren't good enough as an entire unit, myself, against Buffalo, against Arizona. But traditionally we have been. And so it's nothing that we're overly concerned about. You look at the hits last week on Russ, and there was a handful where they brought too many guys. There were some signals that we missed. A couple times, again, we didn't communicate. We had the right adjustment on, and we didn't communicate it. So it really comes down to a lot of things. If Ethan doesn't play, Kyle Fuller's a guy that we've got a lot of confidence in. I thought he had an unbelievable training camp. Probably one of the most improved players that we had. So if he has to go and answer the call, we don't have any question he'll play well.
Jackie.
Hey, Shotty, with the Rams having a new defensive coordinator, do you see anything different with their schemes, or does it look pretty similar to before?
No, there's some things that are different, Jackie. The biggest thing I would say, is you feel more, there's more quarters, cover four type structure of things that they're showing. They're playing really, really hard. You see them rolling a lot of guys through. There's a big rotation. They stay fresh so they can play fast. But the biggest thing I would say, the coverages in the fronts tie together really nicely. Having a guy like Jalen Ramsey in year two for them certainly helps. But when you watch them on film, they're very impressive. Top-tier defense for sure in most categories. You look at Aaron and what he's been able to do throughout his last couple of years. Again, I remember when he was a young rookie. He was unblockable then. He's still very tough to block now. It's a good scheme, good group, and will be a heck of a challenge.
Thank you.
Art?
Brian, can you describe the degree of difficulty that Fuller may face if he starts, going from a guy who's had 6 special team snaps to facing Aaron Donald?
Yeah, Art, I think they present problems in general. The way that they set their fronts up, they play a lot of nickel or sub defenses, and they play an under structure where they're trying to get Aaron in one-on-one matchups. It's a challenge for anybody blocking him and blocking this group. But Kyle's up to the challenge if he has to go and play. If Ethan has to play, he's shown he can do it. We're very confident. You don't block Aaron in that front with just one guy. You don't do it. Yeah, it takes the entire group, all 5 guys working together. I think Leonard Floyd's been a terrific acquisition for him. He's playing really well. So, again, very confident in the group, but it won't be easy. They present multiple problems with the way that they set their fronts, the pressures that they bring, and we have to be on our A game to do well against it.
Curtis.
Hey, Brian, I know you mentioned the pressure allowed a little bit last week, but what kind of stood out from that game that you just didn't like when you went back and watched it?
It's a lot easier, Curtis, to solve problems when it's one thing. It really wasn't one thing. It really wasn't. It was protection calls on my part that weren't very good. There was execution where we didn't communicate things very well. We didn't handle some of the all-out blitzes that they brought very well. We missed some signals. And when you're playing a game like that where you're down and you're getting a lot of blitzes, it makes it a little bit more difficult. You're playing from behind, and they did a really good job against us. But probably the different the fact that there wasn't one thing you could say, hey, boy, Schotty really screwed that game up, because that's easy to fix. But it was multiple things. It was just us not processing things well and not getting things done collectively.
Bob.
Yeah, Brian. Obviously, the pressure was a big part of it and all that, but Russell's turnovers in that game, just sort of trying to make a play there, or what do you make of kind of the turnovers he had?
Well, I thought the first one, with the fourth down call, I got to call a better call, Bob. I mean, I put him into a situation. It's fourth down. They covered the two primary receivers. It's fourth down. He's got to try to make a play. You don't throw the ball away in that situation. So I think that's the first one. The second interception, 3rd and 25. He needs to know, hey, I can't throw that ball in that situation. They covered it really, really well. Hey, let's try to move on. But he's competing. We're all competing. I called a play that I was competing to try to go convert 3rd and 25, and that's hard to do. The fumble to start the second half, he's trying to step up in the pocket. We've got a deep developing route that's getting ready to take off, and the guy kind of retraces around. He never sees him. And the fourth one, I think, was an all-out blitz where he had given a signal, and the guys didn't see it. They didn't process the signal, and so he's expecting something that didn't show up, and he got hit and kind of got blindsided. So that was kind of that game in a nutshell. We did some really good things, but there was things like that where, like I'm saying, everybody's involved, and the execution wasn't good enough. We're still able to score a bunch of points, but we have to be better. We have to be cleaner in general.
Joe.
Yeah, Schotty, who's getting the extra work right now on the jugs machine?
I don't know, but it's pretty loud. Let's see. Will Disley's over there. DK Metcalf's over there. Will's laying on the ground. So I don't know what drill they're doing, but he's laying on the ground trying to catch balls.
Do you talk with DK going into a matchup where he's probably going to get shadowed by Jalen Ramsey, or do you say, or just in terms of keeping a cool head, or do you say he did it last year, he's gone against Stephon Gilmore and others, he'll be fine?
Yeah, Joe, a little bit like, we talked a couple weeks ago. He expects it. He knows it. He knows he might not get targeted 35 times, 25 times in this game, but he's going to get his opportunities. I think the maturity of DK this year has been cool to see because he doesn't always have to get a ton of attempts to impact the game. He impacts the game sometimes on 3 and 4 attempts. But we talk at times each week about different things, but in terms of the matchup, it's a sign of respect. Anytime you get a chance to go up against one of the best corners in the league, which Jalen is certainly that, that's a sign of respect. And people know that he's a terrific player, but that's one I'm sure they'll have multiple cameras on those two guys, and we do expect that they will match Jalen on DK.
Greg.
Hello, Brian.
Hey, Greg.
What do you notice about these Rams versus the Wade Phillips previous coordinator Rams?
Yeah, they've always played cover 4, but they're playing more versions of it, Greg. They're rolling over to your passing strength, trying to create a numbers advantage for them. So if you've got a trip set to the left, they try to roll their safeties and play cloud, cover 2, we call it, to that side, and they play quarters to the backside. So they're trying to make you play, not one-handed, but they're trying to force the issue there. And, of course, they have a terrific player on the backside, but we're very comfortable that DK going against Jalen, that's a very, very good matchup for us. He's a great player. So's DK. So that's probably the biggest thing is the variables and variations of cover 4 that they're playing. I mentioned how hard they're playing. You see them playing really. They're running to the ball. They're playing physical. And Leonard Floyd's been a really nice addition. So it's a very different unit. There's still some of the staple pieces from Wade. You see that, but it's very different. There's a different mentality when you watch them play, and it's all positive and difficult for offenses.
Is it true Donald's outside a little more?
They've always moved him. On 3rd down, they move him around a little bit. He's looking for matchups. They try to move him around. But for the most part, he's playing the 3 technique, but they will move him around. You'll see him on all the different spots. So it's kind of a where's Waldo thing, right? Where is he? Where's he moving to? Where's he going? I think he'll be out there. I think he'll be out there quite a bit. So, he's a great player.
Thanks for the jugs update, too.
Yeah, absolutely. They're done now. You guys can probably hear me better.
Brady.
Hi, Brian. I'm sorry if we've asked you about this in one of your previous press conferences, but why do you think Russell and DK have connected as well as they have off the field? I mean, we know about on the field what they do, but they seem to be pretty tight off the field. Why do you think they've connected as well as they have?
You know, Brady, I think Russ is always wanting to compete to get better. I think Russ was really excited when we drafted DK. There's the immediate investment. Wow, I've got a really special talent. Everybody saw the combine highlights. Everybody saw the speed and the athleticism. And so I think he was invested in DK from day one. Now I think what helped push it to a different level is the two personalities of world-class competitors is very equal. They're both wired the same way. They both want to be the best. They're both going to do whatever it takes to be the best. They're going to compete. I mean, DK was just one of the last guys, if not the last guy, to walk off the practice field. That's Russ. That's the way he is. He's going to be the first guy in the meeting room watching this practice before we watch practice together. He's going to be the first guy that's seen it and be like, yeah, hey, I screwed that up. Hey, I need to do this. I need to do that. So I think it was the excitement of Russ of getting a guy with this type of untapped potential. But then when he realized that DK was wired the same way that he is, and the desire, the burning desire to really be great, and hey, what can I do better? How can I, very open to Russ's involvement. I think that's what sold him. And you guys have seen the videos. They've worked together. They talk all the time, and should be scary for the league. These two guys playing together for a long time.
How else do you see that or hear that in DK, that desire to be great?
He doesn't talk about it very often. He doesn't, but he takes every rep in practice. You guys would know most of the time you got an elite receiver like DK, plays a ton of plays on game day. You try to rest him in practice. Like, we're literally having to try to pull him out of the huddle, and that's not an easy pull. I mean, you got to kind of tell him, but he's a nonstop, tireless worker. And if there's something that he and Russ miss or they don't connect on, or a route that he doesn't run well, you can bet your ass he's going to do it after practice till he feels good about it, till it's corrected, till it's something that he knows, okay, I feel good about this leaving the field. And for young players, you don't see that very often, so it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Ben.
Hey, Shotty, there's been a lot of talk on the outside just about how much the Seahawks defense has struggled. I was wondering, just kind of at practice, how have you kind of seen the defense kind of come along, and maybe the intensity chip on the shoulder of the defense, maybe in like red zone sessions or, scrimmages in practice? What have you kind of seen from them?
Well, Ben, we go up against them every day, and not just the scout team looks where you're dealing with some of the younger players. We go against them in competitive periods every day. There's always a red zone period. There's always usually something at the end of practice, our competition drills. They present multiple problems, the pressures and things that they can bring. That's why it's been good for us. We're getting a lot of work for some of the pressures and stuff that they bring, and it's been cool to see the aggressiveness. So again, when we're going against them, you're always having to work and communicate, and they do a great job of disguising things. So it's one of those things that when we're going up against them, it's hard to identify where the blitzes are coming from, but that's giving us great work in terms of getting ready for the opponents, whether it's the Rams or the Bills or whoever it is. Those things do help us because you can't simulate with cards. You can't simulate the same tempo of, okay, hey, I want you to walk to the edge and blitz, that you get from Bobby Wagner walking to the edge and blitzing full speed in their own defense. So the competitive periods are some of the best in practice because of the tempo, the real tempo. It's the closest thing you get to a game, Ben, and they create all kinds of problems for us, and it's a heck of a battle to watch.
Last one for Shotty, Michael Sean.
Hey, Brian, how has the press box food been in the visiting stadiums this year?
Well, it's about time. You guys want to talk about pressures. You guys want to talk about turnovers. It's about time we talked about something important. Let's see. Last week, the chocolate chip cookie was terrific. I got to figure out a better process. You guys might know, but I come up from halftime. I'm crazily trying to make adjustments. and the hot dog's always cold. So if somebody would be nice enough to come into the press box, take my hot dog, and go stick it in the warmer or microwave, I would really. Matter of fact, can we give them an exclusive? Whoever does that, just warm up the hot dog because it's always cold and it's not very good. But I would say last week was solid. I'm expecting big things this week, though. Send the message. I'm expecting big things in the new stadium. I mean, you guys should be as well, right? I mean, I'm thinking real good stuff.
What's your go-to condiment on hot dogs?
Ketchup, just ketchup. I'm very plain when it comes to hot dogs and hamburgers. Really, just ketchup.
Microwave hot dogs, Brian. That's a dangerous proposition, man.
All right, you guys can't tell me you haven't been writing articles late at night and be like, you know what? I'm in the mood for a hot dog. Happens. Hey, good seeing y'all. See you guys.